We are called to awaken the sleeping sheep, not to appease the mentally enslaved goats. Trying to liberate ourselves based upon false knowledge is literally as ridiculous as trying to swim while carrying a heavy anchor. It's also equivalent to a child marching into a real war carrying a toy gun. We must function based upon what is actually true in order to liberate ourselves. Because if our understandings are flawed, then all of our liberating strategies that stems from those flawed understandings will also be flawed. Therefore, those who know the truth must teach. African proverb. Our plight has nothing to do with a book written by our most ungodliest enemies and that was brutally beaten into the blood-soaked minds of our ancestors. Such a belief makes no sense at all. And our condition has nothing to do with a silly slave syndrome myth, which presents what would in fact be the least effective method used for controlling generations of millions of people. It's absolutely not how true brainwashing is achieved. The truth of our plight and condition are the direct results of our oppressors' monopoly over our beliefs and their control over our lives. Although the oppressors publicly profess equality for all citizens, they are secretly unrelentingly committed towards the preservation of their racial group's dominance over the Black population. This unrelenting commitment has always necessitated that systems be put in place that secretly impedes the collective upliftment of the Black population as a means of maintaining the nation's white social dominance and social capital within the society. There's also an immense concern of massive unified Black rebellion that secretly exists amongst the ruling white elites, given the nation's long history of grossly exploiting and brutally mistreating the Black population. This immense concern of massive unified Black rebellion resulted in propaganda campaigns being deployed against the Black population that keeps Black collective aggression shifted away from the white oppressive society and redirected towards and against ourselves. This propaganda campaign is the true reason why many African Americans now insist that we're now our own worst enemies. It's always by deliberate design whenever the oppressed starts thinking exactly as the oppressors wants them to think. This Black divide and rule propaganda campaign is how white propagandists now prevents the Black masses from engaging in acts of massive unified Black rebellion against the white oppressive society, thus protecting the nation from the disruption of massive unified Black retribution. Now let's discuss the narrative that African Americans are not from Africa. We African Americans are in fact from Africa. This has been irrefutably scientifically proven by countless millions of us that have taken DNA analysis from different independent sources, and those results have all proven our African ancestry. Many of us are now psychologically blinded from seeing the truth that's right in front of our faces. We are in fact Africans. The propaganda campaign that we're not from Africa was actually created to the benefit the system of white supremacy. It's designed to separate us from the unifying African heritage. Without having it as a base identity to connect to our vast cultural wealth, over time we become further fragmented and we become weaker as a people. We can then be made into anything the white oppressors wants us to be. It also divides us from Native Africans. When Africans are divided globally, we lose our numerical advantage and we're stripped of all hopes of defeating global white supremacy. That propaganda campaign also creates contention and division between we African Americans and the true Native Americans. When the two most oppressed groups within the country are divided, this greatly benefits the U.S. system of white supremacy. Our core problem is that the ignorant ones have been made overconfident, and the intelligent ones now feel overwhelmed and intimidated and therefore remain silent. But when we remain silent in the face of ignorance, thus allowing it to prevail throughout our communities, we are in fact aiding white oppressive forces in their efforts to keep us all mentally enslaved. We must speak up in the face of ignorance. We must teach the truth, even though millions of our people have been brainwashed to hate those of us who now teaches it. We must teach it whether it fills the room or clears it out. We must post the truth whether we're blocked for it or unfriended for it. We must teach the truth regardless of the consequences, because we're spiritually called to awaken the sleeping sheep, not to appease the ignorant and mentally enslaved goats. One love and peace.